I'm gonna run a playthrough of this, show you some things in the game, what it's about, what you can do, some starter things to make it a little bit easier. So you can do your name, characters, appearance, you get little options, head styles. You'll unlock more as you go through the game and get samurai points. Your outfit choices, accessories, which you'll get later, weapons you can get more of, but you only start with one, costumes. So this plays really open-ended. You can do whatever you want, really.
The powers of old have lost and rise dead. A simple servant has risen to become a general. War breeds war, thieves are rampaged, and hearts are in confusion. The world is at war, with no end in sight, and victorious warlords battle to rule the world, improve the lives in the Renata order. Here in Mana, the honor of the former samurai clan is now but a dream. And Shuzen Fujimori, a mastermind of chaos, who came to power by supplanting his lord, vies to become its ruler. Shuzen's sole desire is for a stronger, more powerful Amana. However, in his drive to accomplish his goals, the people of Amana struggle to survive. For in Amana, war is incessant. In fact, one battle has just ended, but the only souls to cast off the woes of war are those that lie dead, heaped on the ground. To those that wander the battlefield, is hell our world or the one beyond? No one knows for sure.
So it puts you in these kind of cinematic choices where you get to choose your option for what you say, which can change how an event will play out. You also get the choice to draw your sword in the majority of them, which will break that quest and you can attack whoever is in that cutscene. And you can also get a apology one, where you straight up just skip it. Like you didn't, if you don't want to interact with it, you can choose not to do it at all. So right here, that symbol means I can draw my sword on them.
Who's alive? The next one is still alive? Who is it? Hey, who are you? Are you okay?
So here we get our first look at what we can do. Right now, if you say leave me alone, they'll just run off and you'll be left alone, or either one of these will have them take you back to the village. If you choose not to go with them, you won't recover any health, and you'll be spawned on this battlefield with no health.
What do you mean, what should we do? We don't have a choice. We got to get into the village.
So we wake up in a house that we have no idea where we're at. So this is pretty fast. It's an action game, so pretty much like a hack and slash. So what we do is we draw our sword, we put our sword away. We can draw our sword and then switch it to a blunt attack. So we hit with the back of the blade, kind of like Rurouni Kenshin. It won't kill anybody. So we have a jump command, We have a light attack. We can combo into that. We have a heavy attack. And the more we use a sword, the more we upgrade the style, the more moves we learn. We have a block. And while blocking, you can kick, which interrupts, or you can grab. You can also jump and kick, or jump and heavy attack. And as you can see, the environment is kind of interactable. If you have your sword out and it's blade out, you can actually cut the door in half, which is pretty cool. Or you just run up and kick him. So, other buttons, we have a apology button, which you can actually use for people you've upset, and sometimes they will stop being hostile to you. Right. So if we go here, we get our first event. So we can choose to skip it or draw our sword, but we don't need to do either of that.
This isn't a battlefield. You cannot go around spilling blood here. Do you understand what I am saying? I could have left you for dead lying on the battlefield in Kuchihagahara, but I didn't. I brought you here. If you are truly thankful, you shall refrain from fighting or causing trouble in this village.
Yeah, I'm not about that. So coming down here, we get our first tutorial. Pretty much our only tutorial. These guys are messing with this girl and she asks for help. So what you can do is you can come up and mess with them. You bump into them, they'll get upset, and they'll draw their swords. So one thing about this game is there's a ranking system, so the more bad things you do, the more points get deducted, and the more samurai things you do, less points will be deducted. So running up and attacking civilians gives you negative points. But if we attack these guys, if we get them to draw their sword by just pulling out our sword, we'll get into combat. And it's one-on-one, lock-on, they won't all charge, so it's not that bad. So we do have a free run button if we don't want to lock on. But if we want to block attacks, the bar at the bottom that's filling up with red, if that exceeds those 3 bars, the sword will break and become useless. So we want to try not to do that. And we can actually block and avoid side to side. You can actually become invulnerable, you can do that, you won't take damage. And there's different ways to block. There's a push when you attack to break their block, and you can pull while you block to kind of throw them off balance. And there's also, see, he's trying to let me forgive him, but we don't do that. So you can run up and pick up blades by pressing A or X, or if you're running, you can roll and grab them. So if you wanna, after you kill somebody, you can search their bodies, but that's not really a samurai thing to do, so they don't like that. And also, if you have females with a dress on, if you come up to them with a sword and position yourself right, so that you don't hit them, but you hit their dress, it's very hard, because you don't want to hurt them. You barely want it to touch. Like that. See, that's a negative, so you get a point deduction for that. And if you come around, there's a bunch of food items around. You can kick, pick it up, you can roll. You can carry up to 10 of anything. You want to try to stock up as much of this as possible, because it doesn't give all that much health and you lose a lot when you get into fights. So some of the things to do, there's a shop you can buy stuff from. You can do jobs. There's 4 main job holders, and each one of them gives you a specific amount of jobs you can do. You can do them, come back, get money, leave, come back, do it again. There is up here, there's actually a blacksmith that you can go to. And there's barrels. If you destroy these barrels, you can get stuff. Heal items. And try to always put your sword back up. You don't want to run out with your sword out because people will attack you. There's this blacksmith down here. You can go to him and you can actually upgrade and build swords. So you can upgrade attack, durability, defense. Not too important right now, and then you can actually craft some with parts. Because all the swords you're going to be picking up for a while, unless it's a main character, they're kind of crappy until you start building your own. They're not going to do much damage or have good defense. But at the start, we can come up, we can actually sell some of these crappy ones. Majority of the ones on guys are going to be blunt blades when you start, which you can just sell off for money. There's actually from the start a quick travel map. So each one of these exclamation points is an actual event mission. So each one is different. You can go to one and it'll close out the rest. So you have to choose what you're doing every time so you know what you're doing. So if you don't want to hit one, you can quick travel around. But if you're just starting, we can go up here to the road. See, there was an interaction here.
These provisions for Fujimori forces? We'll take them from here.
This is the first price in a long time. Tonight, we feast like lords. Look. This is not it. Refuse to die.
So there's some items here that are pretty good. The rice ball and the dried fish. They'll respawn every once in a while. They're really good. The dried fish is particularly good for healing. But if you run up here, there's this little rock, and there's a tree stump in there. If you run up and jump off here into this, you actually find a pretty good sword that's in the ground, in that tree. And it's quite different from the one we have right now. It's a different style. It's an actual Ayato style. So when you draw your sword, you'll be in a draw stance. So you return it to the blade every time. Kind of bad if you have it drawn and forget, because people will attack you and it doesn't look like you actually have your sword out. Even like these that I just picked up, these rotten rice balls, still better than nothing. See, if I eat it, it brings me health, but it also lowers my defense, so I take more damage for 30 seconds. And the poison mushrooms are the same way, but with attack. So they'll lower your attack. Good in desperate situations, but not always. So if we just want to skip it, we can just hit that left trigger button. We'll act like we didn't even go there. You can look around, you'll find some other stuff. Like all these crates around here, always break those, try to find what's inside. So one event I do like to do is the Fujimori Castle. Actually joining up with Lord Fujimori's forces. Not because there's any benefit to it, but because you can actually get a lot from it in the start. So if we come up here, he's probably going to tell us not to come in. Okay, so he tells us that we can go to the main gate. And they'll recruit. Every once in a while this guy shows up and he's got a job to cut a giant fillet. But you probably want to do it if you have a better sword, which you don't right now. And at night, watch out for these guys, because sometimes they steal money from you and you can't get it back. And if you have a lot of money on you, they steal quite a bit. These guys are how you save the game. You should walk up to them and ask them to save. But right now, we want to go in here, through the main gate, and talk to this guy. Yes, I have skills to prove. So why it's a good idea to do this is because it's actually a giant tournament, and last person alive wins. And you can get some sword choices through here, and learn how to fight a little. Learn how to block, pull, push, grab. Or if you're really good and have a good sword, you can straight up just fight him right now. And probably even get his sword. But you're gonna lose if you do that right now. I don't suggest that.
Only a true samurai with no fear of death entering the land with Lord Shuzan Fujimori. Let only those that have prepared themselves step forward. Very well. Show me everything you've got. And we will see. I will judge you with my own eyes.
So actually, according to how well you do, depends on if you actually join them or not. So if you don't do very well, you actually don't get a choice to join. He'll tell you that you're not good enough. So, like, here we can get some spears if we want. So if they block and you kick them, it'll break their guard. We also have, that was a perfect guard, which insta-kills if you follow up. And then it chains, you can chain multiple times. Or you can just block out of it to cancel. But you gotta be really fast on that button. So if we want a spear, we definitely want to try to grab one right here. And you can only have a set of 3. And you can also throw. Which I just kicked and picked it back up again. Place will just drop it on the ground. So there we got a spear, so we can use a spear if we want. Now that everyone's dead.
That's some skill you've got. Fujimori clan could use someone like you.
And I could fight him if I want. But if I do that, I'm not going to join Fujimori, and I'll also have to fight all the guards. So you'll probably end up dead. Doing this will actually let you do jobs for Fujimori clan. And you get 200 yen. So after you do an event, you have to leave that map selection and go to a different one. So like one from over here. There are night events sometimes, sometimes not, depending on what you actually choose to do. So if you actually kill her, you can get something pretty rare, but it's not easy because she runs really fast away.
I smell something. It smells like a beast. A bloodthirsty beast is out of place here. Is it blood I smell? Oh, I thought so. A smell nothing close to elegance. You are only the second person I've smelled with this stench. The other was Lord Shuzen Fujimori. That man cannot escape the smell of blood. Your smell may be stronger, I must admit. That smell is intriguing to me. What a rare discovery. It pays to walk around the town sometimes. Who knows? We may see each other again. And now I bid you adieu.
So obviously she's up to no good. If we go back now, it's probably going to be closed because it's about nighttime. Good thing it's not. Alright, so now that we join them, we can actually have free reign at the castle, except for Fujimori's top floor, which the more events you do, eventually will unlock, and the more jobs you do, and the more trusting he is. So this guy right here is a job giver. Alright, so this one's actually pretty tough. There's a... Oh, never mind. I was thinking about the one with the 3 guys you have to choose from. But this one's pretty easy. You just go and beat someone up with blunt. You can't kill him. The only thing that's tough about this is once you hit him, he'll start to try to run away. And if you don't hit him enough, he will escape and you'll fail. So this blade's probably not the best one for that. So we'll try spear. Because it's got that range. So if we go down here, go to the road. Usually we'll find him kneeling down or hidden. So now that it's nighttime, you have to watch out for actual hunters who will be walking around the road. And they'll try to attack you on sight. Sometimes they have baskets on their heads. Those will just be crazy. Some thieves will try to run up and steal money from you. But that's usually if you're carrying a large amount. Sometimes it's actually kind of difficult to try to find these guys. And you gotta search around a lot. And there's some of these cats. And one thing that's special about these cats is that if you kneel to them, they'll actually interact with you. It gives them a little, it takes them a little time, but they'll actually pat you on the head. Actually, if you do it to all 4 on the map, you'll have something special happen. Looks like this one's being stubborn. I keep putting my head through this rock. I'm like Toph in Avatar. Did you use your head, Twinkle Toes? Oh, he's not gonna do it right now. So sometimes they'll be at the harbor, or they'll be around the tree over here, or they'll be down here in this house. Sometimes they're just a pain in the ass and you can't find them. Which I hope isn't the case, because you have to cancel the job. He might be only here at the daytime too. There he is. So it's just really bad because he's really close to the exit. So if he runs that way, it's possibly I'm gonna lose this. And you have to hit him a certain amount of times. You can't lock onto him either. Okay, good, so he's running that way. And he does stop after a little time, so you get a chance to hit him. So looks like the spirit actually is turning out pretty good. There we go. Just whip him, and that's it. Now we just go back. So now if I want to do another job, I won't be able to, unless I leave and come back. But for now, we'll save. And we'll call it a day. I'll play some more later, and I'll show you some other things.